Today, I am going to be sharing with you the client experience strategies that's going to improve retention and results within your program. Welcome back to Behind the Business, where I share with you strategies, systems, and sales processes that are going to support you to spaciously scale your coaching business. Today, I want to talk about the onboarding experience. Now, I could share so many things about onboarding because I'm a really big fan of prioritizing client delivery, and how a client starts matters so much. But I'm just going to share 5 things that you can implement into your business to ensure that your clients have a really seamless onboarding experience in any program, but specifically I'm going to be speaking into a group coaching program as that is what I have. All right. Let's dive in, because instead of just constantly finding new client after new client after new client, if instead we can just do a really good job at, keeping our clients, you're going to find it so much easier to scale your business. So there are a number of things I do, but let's just go through 5 one by one. The first is when a client joins my program, they receive a welcome email. This welcome email has 4 steps that they need to take. It's labeled step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It's really simple and clear so that they can't get overwhelmed. It's like a mini little checklist of exactly what they need to do from there. Also, when they join, when they purchase, they've not only signed the contract and made their payment, but they're actually redirected to a welcome page. This welcome page has a beautiful welcome video, which I think is a really nice experience. And there's the link to join my community, plus a little comment to say, check your emails. And that's where that welcome email is. They then receive a 2-day check-in. So 2 days later, they receive a check-in, just making sure they've done this, 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 and this. And then they receive a 2-week check-in and a 2-month check-in. Of course, we are checking in on our clients personally every single week. We're talking to them multiple times per week, right? But this is just an automated email sequence that we have in place to make sure that everyone is feeling, where they're meant to be. They've definitely done everything, because when you join a new program, it can be a little bit overwhelming. Like, have I done everything? Am I missing anything? Where do I start? Where do I focus? And if you can answer those questions and navigate that as seamlessly as possible, you're going to have a much more seamless experience for your clients. So that is the first thing, is having that email sequence. 1 when they join, a 2-day check-in, a 2-week check-in, and a 2-month check-in. And these emails serve different purposes for us, and we have different call to actions for them for each. Inside Scale School, I actually give the templates for all of these so that my clients can literally just plug and play it into their business. So that's number 1. Number 2 is part of this welcome email is actually a handbook. Now, this is just a Google Doc that my clients get, but it's also in the welcome video inside the curriculum, and it's linked a whole bunch of other places as well. But this handbook actually has a beautiful welcome section to it, but then it actually lists all of the inclusions of my program so that they know everything that they get and where to access these different levels of support. So for example, in the handbook is actually explaining the 5 group calls that we run every single week in the program, with the link to the calendar so they can add those calls to their calendar at a click of a button, and explaining what times they are, how it works, what the themes are. Another inclusion of Scale School is we run quarterly virtual weekend retreats. So there's a section for that, explaining that they're quarterly at these times, this is how it works, this is how to find them, and so forth. And we do that with all of the inclusions in the program, so they know exactly where and how and when they can access support. Inside this handbook is also my expectations of them during the program, and the expectations they can have of me and my team during the program, my coaching style and everything. So that is just shared from day 1. I think transparency is really key, and if you are just honest and you lay that out, it allows people to set themselves up for success, take self-responsibility, and it's something you can hold them to a higher standard to if need be in the future, saying, well, hey, this is how it's been from day 1, this is what we shared, you agreed to this, and so forth. So I find having a beautiful welcome handbook with all of those inclusions just really makes people feel like, okay, yep, I know where all of the support is, especially for big programs such as mine, where we do provide actually so much support. Being able to have it all in one place just makes it so much less overwhelming. Number 3 is that we have a welcome/essential foundation section of my curriculum. So inside Scale School, I teach the scalable system. This is my signature method that is broken down into 3 core essential pillars that I believe are essential when it comes to scaling to 30K months and beyond. That is sustainable strategy, seamless sales, and simple systems. Now, there is a lot that goes into these 3 pillars. In fact, there's 3 components that go into each, but there's multiple modules under each component. So there's 9 components, aka 9 steps in total. It's a step-by-step process. And I don't want people feeling overwhelmed or like, where do they begin? Even though it can be a step-by-step process, the reality is I have some coaches come to me at 0, some at 2K months, some at 10, some at 20, some at 30 already. And because of this, they should start different places. It doesn't have to be done in a step-by-step order, right? And so I want to have a welcome section. So one, they know exactly how to use the program, they're onboarded, they know where everything is, there's a tutorial of how to use the platform and all of these things, but then they actually know how to figure out where to start. And that's why I have an essential foundation section. So no matter what your stage of business is or where you're at, you do need to go through that first, and then from there you will actually know where to best utilize your time and energy from there, because they've completed the essential foundations. And that way they're on the same wavelength with the terminologies you use, the things you believe in, and all of that sort of stuff. So I have found that to be a really big difference that was made when I introduced this. Before, when I didn't have that essential foundation section in particular, people would always ask me, where do I start? There's so much in here, I just don't know where to begin. Whereas now it's always like, watch the welcome section and then complete the essential foundation section, and then you will know where you need to focus next. And they do. And they're completing these essential foundations, which gets them, rock solid foundations in their business and quick wins. And they start building so much momentum, building that clarity and confidence, because often I explain things in a way that they've never heard before, which I'm really, really proud of. So definitely having that onboarding section, in my onboarding section, for example, I have a module called Welcome to this program. That's really powerful in of itself. Most people's welcome to this program videos are kind of shitty, to be honest. Mine actually has like a really transformational story in it as well. Then I have a video on how to best use this program, and I actually share with them, the things that the successful coaches have in common in terms of how they utilize support, how they approach mentorship, and all of these sorts of things. Then I have a video on how to use the school platform. So I actually walk them through how to use it so they understand that, and I think that's really important instead of just assuming they know how to. I then have a video on an overview of the scalable system. Again, that is the framework that I teach. So they need to understand those pillars, those components, why it's important, how to go about it so that they understand the terminologies. And then there's a video called Quick Wins in 7 days. So they can start getting some quick wins right away. And I have an option for new coaches and an option for established coaches. So that's my welcome section. And then my essential foundation section has exactly that, the essential foundations that I believe are required in order to spaciously scale your business. So that is basically the welcome and onboarding section that I have that has made a massive difference. Number 4 is that I have an intro post inside school. So if you use a Facebook group, you can pin a post. If you use Kajabi and all of these things, I'm sure you can do that as well. But in school, you can pin up to 3 posts at this point in time anyways. And I have a post that's titled Just Joined, Start Here. And then it congratulates them for, joining. And then it gives those 4 steps that they need to complete. So one is watching, that, telling them to watch that actual welcome section. Number 2 is to introduce themselves into the program, and I link where to do that, and then how to add the calls to their calendar and those sorts of things. In that post, I also introduce my team so they know exactly, who my ads manager is, who my support coach is, who my virtual assistant is, and where they can get the tech and payment support. I include all of this in there so that, they're really clear that, cool, this is all I need to do from here now that I'm in the space. We go and tag every new member in there when they join so that they definitely don't miss it, even though it is actually pinned. So that is something that we do. My client success coach, she also personally messages every new client as well. I do this as well from time to time, but definitely with my Scale School Tier 2 clients, I message them all personally because I'm in private one-on-one communication with them. But I definitely welcome all my clients into the program, but it just might be in that post or so forth. But my client success coach, she definitely will message them all right away. And then Number 5 is when people introduce themselves, which is what they're prompted to do from that Start Here post, is I get my whole team to actually comment on their post. So I welcome them there. My ads manager does, my support coach does, my VA does, and even my sales closer does. And this is to make my clients feel really welcome, really seen, really acknowledged, which I find to be super, super powerful. So we go out of our way to do that. And what I have found is that this naturally also prompts all of my clients to do the same. And then all of a sudden, this new client is being welcomed by so many people and just feeling so loved and in the right space from day one, which I think is really important. So these are just 5 of the things that I do to improve my client onboarding experience when a client joins my world so that they want to stay in my world. I could be listing so many other things, but these are some of the core things that I have found to be extremely beneficial. I hope you really enjoyed today's training. Let me know if you have any questions, any thoughts, any feedback. I would love to hear from you, and I'll see you in next week's video.